Okay guys, quick update for Bitcoin. I'm going to talk slow with this one. This is going to be kind of a different format. I want to show you how basically with this method of charting, how you can predict moves way in advance and predict potential patterns before anyone else has a clue what pattern we're in. And based on this chart, and I'll show you how this pattern was already here before price got to it. Obviously, this is our strongest support. This is our strongest resistance. This is a pennant formation. We do have a support level right here, this light blue area, but I'm going to show you how this pattern was predicted way in advance. If you understand how to read the charts, and I'm going to cover some comments too. So for instance, in my last video I put up, I'm going to reference 3 comments. So this guy here, Warlord47, you basically have lines on every single spot on the chart. I think you need more lines. This is a very common comment I get about my charts. And maybe for this person that hasn't been following me or new to the channel, it might look that way. So the point of this, and again, I have 2 other comments I'm going to respond to, but I want to show you how and why these charts are so powerful using this method of charting. So it was this last video. This is the one I'm referencing. I'll put a link up to it now if you want to check it out. I'm going to reference this a few times. So in this video, I was giving some possible scenarios. And I actually added this yellow line right here, this trend line, showing you this could be our current resistance. And I said your point too short, I've said this I think a couple videos back, was around 43,800. But I showed how I found this line, and price is still respecting this line. So if we go to this chart, you can see clearly right here. So this was the point too short, 43,800, and we dropped all the way down. Notice we hit support right at this point. We pushed up and we're getting rejected. So it's possible, and again, I'll cover these scenarios. This is in response to another comment. It's very possible we could be headed down to test one of these lower targets. And again, when we go through the charts or just watch that previous video, it'll make more sense. So this is that line I added. Now I just published this chart. This chart was published on February 1st. I just wanted to have a published version of this chart with this new line I added. So how would I know that this is support? Well, you got the central Bollinger Band. You've got a support level right here, this line that price has been respecting for a while. And you have this new line I added. And if you hit play, you can see what happened. We pushed up, we got rejected at this line. This is the 2-hour version, right? And you can see this is actually showing a pattern we're potentially in. This is very close to the H1 chart. But you can see, look, right here, this has been our resistance. This is that same line I added on the previous video, right? This previous video right here, I added this line. Go back and watch it. And you can see, look, we're getting rejected at this point. And this is a published version. Published it on the 2-hour as well. Same, published on February 1st, just so you can see how price is interacting with that line. So again, this line was added in that video, and you can see how well price is respecting this line. If we go to the H1 chart, now I'm going to show you the published version of this chart, and this is probably what this guy was talking about in this comment. And so, well, you've got so many lines, and he's right. I've got a shitload of lines on this chart. But if you actually look at the chart, you can understand why and how price, when price moves along, how you can predict potential patterns. So price comes down and you hit support right here. Well, you know, you would chance a long. Price pushes up, comes back down. Well, it's still holding above this point. We push up, we get rejected right at this line. Well, then it's possible because you already have, now I have these thick lines just showing, just outlining this line because this fib channel line is hard to see. But it shows you that's your support level. And notice when price pushes up to this blue fib channel line, every time we hit it, we get rejected, right? This is the Coinbase chart. You know, price pushed up, got a crazy wick up to 43,700, came right back down. But you can clearly see this is your resistance, right? This is also a support level. So there's 2 possible patterns we're in. This could be a resistance that's dark blue. This support could be your support. So potentially, let's get my brush tool here. So potentially we could push up, get rejected here, come back down to support. If we break it, well, this is your next support level too long. This would be your point too short. And either we break to the downside or we possibly break to the upside. And again, I'll come back and I'll give you support and resistance levels for this particular chart. But I want to show you how I was able to predict this pattern way in advance using all of these lines, which apparently someone thinks I have too many lines. Well, so this is the H1 chart, right? Let me go back to my arrow tool here. So this is the H1 chart. And take note, all right, I'm going to show you this. So this chart was published on January 17th. And yes, look at all these lines. It looks insane. But you need to take note. Look at these lines going kind of horizontal and up. So if I hit play, right? I'm going to play it out. Notice we came down, we found perfect support here. This is where I told everybody too long. I guess it was a few videos back. If I hit play, watch what happens here. So this is current price action right now. And just so you can see this, let me zoom in. Notice that blue line. So this guy that said right here, you basically have lines on every single spot. I have lines exactly where the line needs to be for price to respect it, and you can clearly see that. Here's that blue line, and again, this is a published chart. Look, if I hit refresh, it goes right back to where it was, right back to where it was on January 17th when I published it. We click play again, go back to that spot, and you can see right here. So if I zoom out, just show you this, or zoom in, okay, here's that blue line we got rejected at, right? If I go back to the chart, right, here's that blue line. Here's that blue line right here, resistance, resistance, resistance. So this is your current resistance level. If we go back to the published chart, you can see this light blue line right here that's currently our support. That is this line right here. And this line has been here way before price got to us. So what that person that made that comment doesn't understand, while yes, there's a lot of lines on the charts, these lines, price is currently respecting before price ever got to this point, potentially giving you your pattern that you're in, this pennant formation. And you see this red line right here. We go to the published chart. This red line right here, that is our current support. And remember, I published it when price was over here, this vertical line. Price hadn't even touched these lines yet, but we knew potentially a pattern we're in. That gives us our support and resistance levels. As you can see, this red line, blue line, dark blue line, that gives us this current pattern we're in. Now I want to go through and respond to a couple other comments, but again, that's how you use these charts. So that person said, look, you got too many lines. Well, this line told us we're too short. This line told us we're too long. This line told us we're too long. This line told us we're too long. And this actually shows what pattern we could be in. Again, this pattern right here. So let's move on. And in Discord, this is how I'm able to give you points to long and short, and sometimes to the dollar. So in that previous video that I mentioned, this is that line I added in that video. Go back and watch it. I added this line right here. Notice we got rejected at 43,692, right at that area. Also at the same point, we got rejected at 43,755. And notice what happens. We dropped from this point. This is that new line that was added. And I was also covering the Dow Jones as well. And notice when we pushed up, so your point too short was around 43,500. This is your current resistance, right? And look what happened. We came down, we got rejected, we found support, and then we're getting rejected at this point. And I said, pay attention, if we break this point, we could drop lower, but your strongest resistance now is 43,300. And look, I said, for closer support and resistance levels, check the H1 chart. Your next major support, this white line here, 42,750. And you can see what happened. We came down, we found support. So now your current resistance is 43,338. And this ultimately gives us the possible patterns that we're in. And again, these lines were here before price ever got to it. Another comment someone made said this that's actually quite funny as an analysis. Let's see how many ways this could go. And basically saying, look, and let's draw a scenario for each of them, cover all possible outcomes, and you'll be right. Well, in this video, I gave 3 possible scenarios, but each one, the trajectory will be down. I never said Bitcoin will push up. Again, I'm using these charts to help you find out what patterns you could be in. Obviously, price could play out a multitude of different ways, but you have a roadmap to know how that price action might play out, as I just showed you. So the comment this person made, I did give 3 scenarios, but they're all valid. So, and I'm going to show you this chart. I have a version of this chart published back before we crossed this ring. So I'm going to show you that these rings were here way before price ever got to it. But I was saying that either way, I said either, and I'll show you this. I already put a link up this video. Just watch previous video. But I said basically we could be in possible three patterns, right? So one was we're in a head and shoulders, which would bring us down to around 31,500, 31,700, something like that. So that's the first scenario. which means a drop. The second scenario is this is a pattern we're in, which I think is likely this could be the pattern we're in. If we get above this point, which I already covered, then yes, we could push up to that other possible scenario, which is this one right here. But again, every scenario was we have a drop down to 31,500. I never said in any one of these scenarios that we're going to push higher and go, make a new all-time high. I said basically it's going to be either a head and shoulders that drops, it's going to be a descending channel that drops, or an ascending channel that drops. Either way, we're going to drop. So this comment made by this person, that I'll be right by either outcome, well, thank you, because either way, my prediction is we drop. But the pattern that we're in, we have to wait to see. But I just showed you how on this H1 chart, you can actually predict patterns before you get to it. So we know the apex is right here, right? The apex could be here or here. We have to wait and see how it plays out, but you have a roadmap to know which way price is going. So let me go through this. So I showed that in the previous video. This person here made a comment, said, I don't get the analysis with the circles. No one's watching them, so how can they have an impact on the market? Well, that's just it. They don't really have an impact on the market. What they do is they let you know something in the market's going to change or something's going to happen to trigger a move. And that actually indicates when that's going to happen. So that's the purpose of these rings, and I'm going to show you some examples for that. Now again, if you want to get access to these charts, and every single video I have pinned as a first comment, I give you the link to my website if you want to sign up. And yes, you can pay with USDT, but you need to email me through the website. If you do sign up, you need to email me to get access to Discord, and also give you links if you want to sign up to CoinCatch, BingX, or BitGet. I have a tutorial teaching how to trade on BitGet as well. So if you do want to sign up for those, again, these links are here and they're also in the description. But again, if you want to sign up for the website, the link is right here, pinned as the first comment. I do this in every single video. People ask, where do you sign up? The link's right here, guys. So I'm going to show you this chart. Now I just want to show you how these rings work. These are published charts. So this guy here says, I don't get the analysis with the circles. Well, I'm going to show you that I'm about to make a killing shorting Nvidia. I'm going to show you how I know this will play out. But first, let's cover this chart. Now, this chart I've created this chart a long time ago. Now, I do have a published version of this chart. I'm going to show you two versions of it. For one of these charts, I have this orange fib circle, blue. But just take note, we come down, we find support on it, right? Create this pattern, we drop, right? Come down, we find support on that. So I said every time you hit the ring, you long. You long it, when you cross it, you short. You hit it, you long, when you cross it, you short. This created a pattern, we had a drop. And this is that blue ring. I said every time you cross it to go long, cross it to go long. I said when you cross the orange ring, you go short, right? Well, these are rings playing out. Here's the actual, not this, someone's gonna make a comment now saying, oh, you got too many circles now. Well, okay, fine. This was a long time ago. I said it's very possible that this could be a top. This is up around close to 66,000. Now, if you'll notice, I'm looking at the orange fib circles here. This is published on November 30th, 2019, so you can see how far back this chart goes. But notice we got topped out right here, right? We pushed up, we got topped out here. These yellow rings that you can see my cursor moving right here, these yellow rings are part of the same orange fib circle. But if I hit play, I just want you to see this. If I zoom in, you can see when we cross this right here, we found support, we formed this pattern, we hit support, we pushed up. This is that next orange ring that we crossed it, made a pattern, we had a drop. This is when it says stay long before the ring, but when you cross it, go short. All right, so that, again, this is one of my oldest charts. This is a more, this one was published on March 23rd, 2022. So this is where I made a change to the color of it. But you can see this exact same fib circle. And notice I have these fib channel lines that actually predicted points to short. You could have shorted here, shorted here. This pretty much was a top. It came up. Notice this is a point I was showing to short. And this was a video I put out, actually telling people to short this point. I don't have that video up right now, but you can see the published chart. But basically I was saying, and again, this is right here, if I show you this, these orange rings. So you can see right here, support, formed a pattern, drop. Support, form a pattern, drop. Notice actually on this right here, it was almost perfect support. We pushed up, we actually pushed up, almost made contact with it, and then we had a drop. So let me just show you the published version of this, just so you can see that these rings have been here for years, and you can see how they played out. So right here. So again, this is that orange ring. I just have it blue in this chart. But watch what happens. We push up to this fib channel line. We get rejected. Look, you can see that. That's that pattern we formed. This was your perfect point to short right here, 47,500. We formed that pattern below resistance. We had that drop down to support. We dropped again. You can see right here. And I have this in line drawing. This isn't candles. This is where we crossed that ring. We formed that pattern. We had a drop. Again, just so you can compare. Got a lot of stuff up here. I apologize. You see right here? We found support. We crossed it, dropped, support, crossed it, dropped. This is ring we just crossed. And you can see right here, if I hit play, you just follow up the ring. As soon as you cross it, you know you're going to get a drop. So again, I'm just showing you how these rings work, and that some people that don't believe that these rings were here way before price got to it. This is an amazing short we all took. This is back on the 23rd of March 2022. And that for that person that was saying, well, how do these, people don't use these rings? No, they don't. I create these rings so I can predict potential moves. Now, I was going by, this was a video I put out. This was a year ago, all right? I only got 19,000 views. I bet you a lot of people wish they'd watched this video when I put it out. I said Bitcoin could pump to 22K from here, explain why. Now, I'll put a link of this video. Again, all these links, these videos that I'm referencing, which is just this one and a couple others, will be linked in the description, or not description, but pinned in the first comment. But if you notice when we crossed this ring, or what I was saying was Bitcoin could pump to 22K from here, explain why. It's because of these blue fib circles. Every time we cross a blue fib circle, we get a pump. We cross it here, we got a pump. We crossed it here, we got a pump. Crossed it here, we got a pump. Crossed it here, we got a pump. We crossed it here, we got a pump. So I knew that when we crossed this ring, price would push up, all right? So if you didn't watch this video, go back and watch it. It's up to you. This is about 9 minutes, 19 seconds in. Well, this chart was published on December 26, 2022 when I made that video. And I made it very clear because every time we cross one of these blue rings, we always get a pump. That told me when we cross this blue ring, we would get a pump. And you can see what happened. We pushed up from there. And notice if you've been following me not long ago, I said, look, this blue ring could be a point too short, but at any point you cross it, you would go long. Notice we pushed up. So again, these rings have been here for a long time, but this ring told us when too long. So again, it's not that everyone's watching these rings or not watching these rings. I create these charts a certain way so we know what to pay attention to for possibly getting a big move. So we can predict patterns and we can predict moves. And as I told you with Nvidia, and I've covered this, actually, I think I briefly covered this in the last video or 2 videos back. I told you that you stay long before this ring right here. You stay long before the red ring. Once you cross it, you go short. Notice we came down to our support level. We push up to our resistance level. Once you make contact with the ring, you go long. When you cross it, you go short. Notice we got caught in this pattern. These lines were here way before price got to it. Support, resistance, support. We broke above a key resistance level. We pushed up. So what do you think is going to happen when we cross this ring? We're going to have a massive drop for Nvidia. I'm going to be opening some huge ass puts for Nvidia because I know every time we cross one of these rings, we get a drop. This is a published chart. This is published on July 6, 2023. And you can see this. Again, if I hit refresh, it just goes back to the same chart. All right, if I hit play, all right, so all I have to do is just hit refresh. It goes right back to where it was, and I published it on July 6, 2023. So look what happens. Again, you stay long before the ring. When you cross the ring, you go short. Watch what happens when we hit the next ring. You can see exactly how this played out. You stay long before the ring, you cross the ring, you go short. We came down to a support, we pushed up to resistance. Look what happened, we rode right up this ring. So what happens when we cross the ring? Well, when we cross this ring, we drop. So we knew that when we cross this ring, we'd also drop. Again, I'm showing you, these lines were here way before price got to it. Resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support. We broke above a key resistance, and look what happened. Price pushed right up to our current resistance. So this is a point you could short Nvidia right now if you wanted to, The safer play is to wait until we cross this ring, just like we did here, dropped, crossed it here, dropped. Look how far we pushed up. We're at the next key resistance. It's no coincidence we stopped right at 668 with Nvidia, and we're probably going to go sideways, and what happens? What's going to happen? We're going to cross this ring and get one massive drop. So that's why I said in Discord, when I short Nvidia, I will make a post about it. Just a few other examples. This is a video I put up on, this was 2 years ago. So I only got 23,000 views. 2021 Bitcoin price prediction, if correct. If correct, it has already begun. Target 10,000. Now, I will make a video at some point showing you that the longer it takes for us to have a massive drop, that bottom target gets higher. I don't think we'll go to 10,000 anymore. I think that target is probably closer to 12,000. I will cover that in the video at some point. But do go back and watch this video. I think I already said put a link up, but again, I'll put a link up to it now if I haven't already. Go back and watch this video. I basically created a flip circle showing how price action played out in 2019. Comparing this, creating another flip circle, this told me that likely we're about to have a massive drop from this point. So it says cross ring, this thick yellow ring, cross ring drop. See this thick blue ring, cross ring drop. Again, this is answering that guy's question about how price can respect these fib circles, or how these fib circles can give you a point too long or short. Well, again, it's just to indicate that something's about to happen. And this is a published chart. This is published on November 14, 2021. The very same chart I'm referencing in this video. And look what happens. We just keep going, we just keep dropping. All right, and then finally we pushed up and we crossed that blue ring, which I referenced in the previous video. That was one hell of a short, and it was just a fib circle, recreating how price action was here. And you can see that it's very similar. We have this head and shoulders pattern right here, head and shoulders pattern here. We dropped down from it, same thing. We pushed up. When we crossed this particular ring, we had a massive drop. It took a long time for this drop to play out, but if you shorted this point, you pretty much caught the top. Price came down. So that's just to answer those three comments. Yes, there are a lot of lines on this chart, but it helps you predict what's going to happen before it happens. And if you understand how to read the charts, if you go back and look left, you can see why these lines are so important, right? You can see that this line here has been a lot of support and resistance. We know that's a key resistance level above, right? We know that this is a key support level. We also know that this line right here that I have outlined in orange is going to be a key resistance level if we're below it, or a key support level. But currently, this looks like the pattern we're in. Now again, what I'm saying is this could be our support. This could be our resistance. That means for something to play out, if we do something like this, and keep in mind, we typically break from these about 75% of the way in. So it makes more sense we would break to the downside to this point. But it could play out like this. We could come up, test resistance, come back down, test support, push back up, break above this point, or to make a post in Discord if we push up where your next major resistance level is. Or we could push up, get rejected, come back down and break this. This is your support. This is the point you would enter a long. When you push up this point, you would enter a short. Obviously, if you hold above this, you would go long. If you get below this point, right, and this becomes resistance, this is where you enter your short, and you would short down to your next support level. But again, I'm just showing you, always look left, look at these lines. You can clearly see how much support and resistance this line has been. So you know that if we drop down to this point, this is a great point too long. So your current pattern, the basic pattern that you're looking at is potentially this, right? So if we break below, let me give you some price labels here. So if we break below, right, your current strongest support is 42,800. And on my charts, green means a long and red means short. So, oh, hold on, let me clone this. So if we push up, your current resistance right now, and again, I know there's a lot of lines on these charts, but if you know how to read the lines, and that's what I do in Discord, is make posts to kind of help you know what patterns are in or how to play it. If we push up, you would short 43,340. Keep in mind, this is a downward angle. The longer it takes to hit, the lower this price gets. So if we push up, you would potentially short 43,330, right? If you get above that and it holds as support, well, your next major resistance is up around, well, let me see here. Let's go back to this other chart real quick. So And again, if you watch the previous video, I was telling you it could be in two potential patterns, right? So if we push above, right? So your current resistance, as I just showed you right here, same with the Bitstamp 3.0 chart and the H1 chart. Current resistance is 43,300. You would stay short below that point. You should be short from 43,850. If we push above that, your next point to short is around 44,300. It's a $10,000 move, but we know that that's the next point you short. And then if we come down, well, then you know this line is going to be support, and that is the point you would long. It is that simple. In the meantime, until we get above this point, you want to stay short from around 43,365 in this daily candle. Your next key support level that matches what I just showed you in the H1 chart is 42,070. And if we drop from that point, well, these will be support levels as well. 41,278, you can catch a bounce there. Your next support level is 40,831, but your most key support level, right? If we stay within these white lines, right? If this is our resistance, this is our support. But if it's the yellow lines, well, we know that potentially we're going to break below this white line. And your next support level is going to be down around 37,834, all right? Because that is the fib channel we're currently respecting. And remember, these lines were here way before price got to it. This was resistance, 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 flipped out support, flipped out support, flipped out support. It was more support. Notice it came down, tested this line. Again, it's not too many lines, just giving you exactly enough lines to play. So it is very possible that if we continue down and get rejected from this point, you're looking at potentially a target all the way down to 37,834. So again, I'm just trying to show you how to play these charts and how you know how to know potentially what pattern you're in. But you can see that these charts match, all right? So this would be your support. I apologize for repeating myself. I just want you to understand how to play these charts. But you can see this is possibly a pattern we're in. If we break down below, if we kind of go sideways, we break below 42,340, all right, and that becomes resistance. Well, we have a lot more downside, and we know our most key support levels. This line right here would be your strongest support. That's around 39,350 up to potentially 40,000. If that breaks and becomes resistance, well, this is now your next strongest support level. This yellow line right here, it's been on the chart for a long time. And obviously, if we do get above, right, if we get above 44,300 and that becomes support, well, then you need to, go long, because that's bullish. If we're above 44,200 and that becomes support, then we're looking at a lot more upside. But I can tell you this, we can just look at this chart. We know that this is our next key resistance level. All right, we have multiple charts. We know that these lines will be respected, but we know that that's your most key resistance level above. And it depends when you make contact. That could be all the way up to 47,250, which is pretty close to our previous highs back here. So again, that's just how you play the charts, and that's how these charts you're able to predict potential possible patterns before anyone else, and potential moves before anyone else. And like I said, I will show you how this Nvidia chart plays out after the fact. But when we cross this ring, I'm almost tempted to short right here. But I think the safer play is to wait till we cross the ring, because every time we cross that ring with Nvidia, we drop. So again, I will make a post in Discord, and after it plays out, guys, I'll show you on YouTube. But remember, you can get access to these charts, guys. Again, in every single video, the very first comment, I gave you the address of the website. You can't pay with USDT or USDC, but you have to email me through the website. If you don't want to pay with PayPal, that is an option for you. If you do want to sign up, I trust BitGet, BingX, and CoinCatch. I use all three of them. BingX 150 times leverage, BitGet and CoinCatch 125 times leverage. CoinCatch, you do not need to do KYC, so if you want to jump on that while you can. If you're in the US, that's a great option for you. But guys, that's pretty much it. Just pay attention. Like I said, if you get access to the charts, I do keep you updated in Discord. But you can see this is your current resistance, right? 43,300. You get above that, pay attention to 44,300. You get above that, then look at some higher upside targets. But until we get above 43,300, I would stay short and expect a lot more downside. And this does look like the pattern we're in, right? So do pay attention. Your next support level just below, guys, is right here around 42,230. So it's possible this could be the pattern we're in. If we break down, then this is the pattern we're in. And then you can expect a move to the upside or a move to the downside. All right, guys, that's it. Stay safe, stay smart. I'm out.